How bizarre is it for you now to see this conflict that we're going through with Russia and Ukraine and the United States involvement, having spent time there?
How bizarre is it? I feel horrible. I'm devastated for my friends there. I'm devastated for it's such a different Moscow. It's such a different Russia than what I knew. There was a free press there when I was there. It was like, it was the Wild West, man. It was everybody was exploding, in this new freedom, and it was such an optimistic. You could feel the fragility, but there was also, man. If you bump somebody's foot by accident standing on a sidewalk, they have to step on your foot. It's like a Russian tradition. So if you bump into somebody, they have to bump into you back. If there's a line, a lot of people just didn't believe in lines. So somebody will just cut right in front of you. I remember when there was the situation at the Russian theater. There's a hostage situation where they just kind of went in and those people were being held hostage. So they put in gas and they just kind of killed everybody. I think there's something about, I had a friend who was in the FSB, a young guy, and if there was an issue with the police, if we were being loud or somebody was trying to shake us down, I had this 21-year-old friend who was in the FSB, and this 21-year-old kid, could yield such unbelievable power just by put the fear of God in soldiers with guns like that, and that's something I don't know that we have an equivalent of that. I saw that there was. I remember them talking about Putin and with George Bush at the time. I remember there was that thing and I looked into his soul and it's like a great man. Are we really connected? There was this thing that there was an understanding among Muscovites that he would just toy with this guy, and things like deception and things like manipulation were things that were celebrated in a leader. They weren't. We do the same shit, but we're not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to celebrate it. It's un-American. But that style of being ruling with an iron fist, it was still. That was still very celebrated, and many Russians, I think, really ascribe to that. So I guess I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken, and I'm heartbroken for all the people that all the young men that have fled and left, and the families that are being torn apart. I'm heartbroken for what's going on in Ukraine, but I guess I'm not that surprised.
The strong leader that is such a big part of Russia, mm-hmm. and to have this powerful leader who leads with an iron fist, that seems to be something that they embrace. It's a part of the culture. Mm-hmm. It's a part of the history of that part of the world.
Absolutely, and making hard decisions and understanding that things aren't clean. I mean, look at I think many Russians would look at, World War II and the way that they handled that war and the way that they approached that war militarily, was, I don't know how. It's interesting. I don't know if that would fly here, but.
Well, look what they're doing in Ukraine when they have these mobile crematoriums, and they're just taking the Russian soldiers that die and just.
Yeah.
But they don't even have a count of the bodies. There's not even an accurate count of casualties.
And look, I think one gun for every 5 guys in World War II. Pick up when that guy dies, pick up the gun. But look, you look at the way Patton approached the armor units in World War II. Our tanks. Couldn't compete with the Germans' tanks. They just couldn't compete. They looked at those tanks. They said, "There's just no way that a Sherman can compete with a Tiger. It's just not going to happen." Well, I know what we'll do. We'll build 5 times as many. So yes, that's an unbelievable achievement of American industry, an unbelievable achievement of the war effort back home, an unbelievable achievement of the engineers that were on the front line fixing those tanks. But what's the other side of that? It takes 5 Sherman tanks to take down 1 Tiger tank, so we're just going to produce 5 times as many. But think about all those tank units. What does that mean for the men inside those tanks? What does that mean? That means we have to put in 5 times as many people, and that when they go, we got to get a new unit out there. And it's very similar.
It's a totally different mentality than what we're accustomed to.
That's right.
And the way we think of war, and we think of sacrifice and casualties.
I think so.
Yeah, it seems to be a part of the culture, and it seems to be something they don't have a problem with.
Yeah, I mean, whether they have a problem with it or not.
That's probably not the right.
Probably,
expression.
yeah, right. I mean, I don't know. It's I've had one friend of mine. I can't use his name, but I've had him on the podcast a couple of times. From on the ground, and what the sentiment is in Russia at the time, and I think for a lot of people there who are able to sort of ignore the propaganda and look beyond it and try to get to the truth. He looks very much at his own culture and his own government as a cancer, and he looks at Putin as an absolute criminal, and he's saying that he's risking his life by saying that, and how Putin deals with his political foes, and it's. I mean, even as I say this to you, man, it's my gratitude, to that place and to that culture, it's limitless to me. It's like I'm able to do what I love and feed my kids and have a family and I'm so grateful for it, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for there. And I'm just I don't know how this is gonna end. I don't know how it ends. I don't know how it works itself out. And I hate that.